So here we are for another episode of Enter the World of Breakdowns. I think we're on episode number 4 now. I thought this job is probably going to be a good one to record. Customer called this morning to say that they've just moved into an apartment. They've just bought the apartment, and they've gone to turn the boiler on and the boiler's not doing anything. They said it was a Worcester boiler. I'd been recommended, and they said that the blue lights just flashing. And then I said, did you reset? And they said it still doesn't work. So first thoughts could be the fan. That's most common on those. However, sometimes I've known it to be the sensors. Fast flash is volatile lockout on a Worcester, so you're looking PCB, but very unlikely. I think it's hardly ever that. Sometimes it's the harness, but yeah, sensor or fan probably. But let's go and have a look. Turn up to this one, no heating, no hot water, and the boiler's just showing a fast flash. This is a volatile lockout, so what I'm going to do is reset the boiler and see if it goes straight to a fast flash or if it's a solid blue flash. It's always nice to know I came highly recommended. So because it's gone back to a solid blue flash, that means it's not one of the sensors. So now we've eliminated the sensors. Most commonly it's going to be the fan or the fan harness, but that's unlikely really, to be fair. So before I take the case off, I'm just going to check the earth loop of the property. What this does is basically show whether there's an earth connected and how good the earth is, so that if the boiler does electrocute me for any reason, I know that I'm going to be safe. Green light means go. So now we know electrically would be safe. We're going to whip the case off. That's the first thing I'm going to check, is going to be the fan. So let's get that power turned off and then get that fan harness disconnected. Always use grips on the actual connector block and pull it out, that way you're not going to pull the cables out. And we're going to check for 240 on purple and brown. Straight away you can hear that we got 240. So we've just eliminated the harness and the PCB. So it's going to be a fan fault. Now we've got to locate the part. So we're going to look for the GC number, which is 47311187. So we're going to whip out Parts Arena. Going to type in the GC number. That's going to come up with the boiler that we want, 28i Junior. Then we're going to go to the parts list. Then we're going to locate the fan. Scroll down. Brilliant, there's 2 fans to pick from depending on the FD code. So on these ones it starts with the 11th digit along, and then those 3 digits are what we're looking for. So whip out the Breakdown Bible Boiler Buddy, scroll down to the FD code table. So we're looking for 787, which is July 2007. So I'm going to be kind to the next engineer that comes, and I'm going to write July 2007 on the heat exchanger. So that's when the boiler was manufactured. So now it means we can pick the right fan. So we're going to want the one that ends in 670, because July 2007 is before October 2007. So go and grab it off the van, open it up. Inside you get the fan, and then you get all the gaskets that you need to replace it. So there will be people in here going, oh, but how do you really know it's the fan? Well, just to please you, what I'm going to do is plug that one in. I don't do I told you so, but if I did, there it is. Right, so let's start stripping it down, get rid of the stupid plastic cap. I'm going to get some grips and pull that out. Then we're going to use our 13mm spanner. And then we're going to pop that out. And then we're also going to use our 13mm spanner to undo the nut on top. Get rid of the drip tube as well. And then this is my own personal little tip. I like to take that nut off, take the securing clamp out, and then put the nut back on, and then it just makes it easier. It keeps everything compacted for when you want to swing that fan arm out. I mean, I just managed to do that one-handed while I was filming it. If you don't keep that securing nut on, that clamping plate is like flapping around everywhere when you're trying to get it out. It's a nightmare. So as you can see, I've left that 30mm nut on while I take off the electrodes and the flame rectification as well. Just keeps everything clamped down. Sometimes these cables are an absolute nightmare to take off. Now I'm going to take that nut off. Get that out of the way. Look at the state of that gasket. Probably couldn't be any flatter if it tried. And those electrodes and flame rectification, state of that. Now I'm going to remove the burner and make sure that's intact. You're just going to look to make sure that all the little burner holes are the same size. Sometimes you find the bearing plate inside there as well, but this one looks good. Doesn't actually look too bad inside, but I'm going to take that baffle out as well and give that a good check over. Again, you want to make sure the holes are all the same size and the metal hasn't warped. This old gas tube needs replacing as well. Look at that, they commonly tear there. So whenever you see a ribbed one, just replace it. To get these off, just get some grips that doesn't get connected to your magnetic dish, and then just snap those off. Just get rid of that because it comes with new ones, and then twist in, it comes off. Screenshot the part numbers if you want. So there's the gas tube, again comes with a red gasket. If you work on these a lot, you end up with a van full of red gaskets. There's a part number for that, and there's a part number for your electrodes. And then at this stage I am going to check to make sure the bearing plate's all good. So twist that out, and that's where your bearing plate is. I always like to give that a bit of a clean as well. You can see how dirty it is. State of that. Then plenty of lube to put it all back together. See how easy that was. Then we're going to undo all the screws. And then that just lifts out the way. That gasket's no good now. You're going to get a replacement one with the fan, so we're just going to get rid of that. Then you're going to use an Allen key to undo the 2 Allen key screws. And now the fan's going to pull apart just like that. Get rid of that rubber gasket as well. That's no good either. You'll get a new one with the new fan. We're going to get that chucked away, or just put there for now. Get the new one. Get all the old stuff put in the box so you don't get it mixed up. Get rid of the gaskets. Goodbye. Electrodes. Goodbye to you too. And then do everything in reverse to put it back together. New gasket in there. I've put a little bit of lube on that as well. Line it up, screw it up, put that all back together. New fan gasket, pop that on there, and then get the fan clamped together. So with the gas tube, there's a little half a circle there, and if you look on the back of the fan, there's a half a circle there. So those two match up, and then on the front, you've got a triangle and a triangle, so they match together. Just makes it a bit easier in case people didn't know. And then clamp those together, and then clamp the other one together too. The compulsory compare the electrodes. Customers love seeing that. Right, new burner gasket and electrodes going back in after the baffle and the burners have gone back in. So that just pops over there like that, holds it in place. Now to pop the clamping plate back in. Can be a little bit awkward, especially if you're doing it one-handed, but just wiggle it into place like that. It's a little bit harder to spring it shut now because obviously it's a bit fatter than the other one. But again, my little tip, you're just doing it in reverse. Put the nut on first, clamp that down, and then it enables you to put everything else back on. So I put the electrode cables back on and the flame rectification now before you swing the fan back in, because look how much more room you've got. Just makes life so much easier. Again, I'm doing this one-handed because I'm filming with the other one. Just trying to show people that Worcesters actually aren't that bad to work on. Right, so now we're going to swing the fan back in. Again, I'm doing it one-handed, left-handed as well. You never have to force it, just line it up. If you're trying to force it, it's because it's not lined up properly. If you end up forcing it, you're going to break something, so just relax. Sometimes all it needs is a bit of a wiggle to line up. So now that's back in, put the gas tube connector back in, put the fan connector back in, plug that in, pop the earth back on. And don't forget to take the nut off, put the securing plate back on, and then put the nut back on again, just like that. You can see the securing clamp there. And then give that a good tighten so that it's not going to come off. And then put the stupid little plastic hat back on, which is annoying. It kind of just pushes in there like that and just clips on. It's about as much use as a chocolate fire guard, to be honest, but whatever. And now with all that connected, I'm going to turn it on. Green light means go. So I'm going to do a 26 nines and basically give it a full service so the fan pressure is good. I'm going to record our readings on maximum and then on minimum. The inlet pressure is quite low, so I'm going to have a quick look at that in a minute. Just about to pack up and go home, and I realised the pressure's at 3 bar, obviously, why wouldn't it be? So I'm going to cancel the demand, isolate flow and return underneath the boiler. Don't forget to turn the boiler off. Open the flap. Oh wow, look at the condense trap. This has actually been looked after by the Blue Van Brigade, but who am I to judge? Get the hose on, get that opened. With the drain off open, just pop the little diverter valve cap off and then pop the motor out. This just helps the boiler drain properly. Then get to the expansion vessel, which is at the back on these. Open the cap up. Then I'm going to get my Regan digital electronic gauge because I don't use a manual pump anymore. Work smart, not hard. Get that one connected. We're going to pump up to 1 bar. So you can see there's nothing in it at the moment. Look at all the water being pushed out the expansion vessel into there. That's a good sign anyway. Once you're happy, just leave it connected for a little while. While I'm waiting for that to check that, I'm just going to give this a good clean out, which has not been cleaned out for a very long time. Cue the gas police in the comments saying that I'm going to block the drain with a little bit of condensed debris. Bore off. People put all sorts down the kitchen sink. I don't think a little bit of condensed debris is going to hurt. Oh, you can't call it condensed debris. Well, I just did, sorry. Pop that back in. Look how clean that is. Didn't need to replace the fibre washer either. The expansion vessel pressure didn't drop either, so I disconnected all that. Now I'm going to open the flow and return underneath the boiler. Top the pressure back up. Vent the heat exchanger as well into the bucket. Not everybody does this, and to be honest, I don't do it every single time, although you should. I always like to just clean the front of the boiler as well, and clean that little bit of rubbish off there as well. Whoops, there it goes, in the bin where it belongs. Turn it all back on. Gonna make sure the pressure doesn't rise this time. Just replace that. There we go. That's another one done. Happy days. So that's that one done. It's always nice when you've been recommended to go there and then sort the boiler out for them. That's the importance of having a decent van stock, albeit the fans aren't the cheapest thing to have as van stock, so it wouldn't be the worst thing not to have, but on this occasion I did actually have it, so that's a bonus. I tried to film this one in like real time so that you could visually see how the job goes, you know, all the way from like liaising with the customer at the beginning, and then just observing what the boiler does when you get there. Don't get any tools out. First thing, see what the boiler's doing for yourself, reset it, and then listen to see what it's doing, or watch, see what the fault code is, and go from there. But yeah, so that's episode 4 number done. If you enjoy these videos and you want me to make more of them in real time, things like that, just drop me a like, subscribe, and a comment. Comments always help as well, so I can see what people enjoy, what people don't like. There's going to be a fair few people that don't like something. It's always the way. There'll be quite a lot of people that will tell me that I'm doing something wrong, or oh, why didn't you do this, why didn't you do that? But you know, every day's a learning day, isn't it? So catch you on the next one, hopefully.